Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Esther, and today we're going to be talking about society's favorite pastime, blaming women. But before we get into that, I would love to appreciate everyone who has been subscribing and just supporting my channel in general. You guys are the real MVPs. And if you haven't done that, I'm just gonna give you like 2 minutes, 2 seconds to like do that. So if you have done that, thank you very much. Thank you for supporting my channel, and you can support by subscribing, liking, and also commenting down below. I will really love to hear your thoughts about this topic. So let's get into it. Over the years, we have seen this narrative of where women are constantly be blamed upon of anything or everything that happens within them or all about them, and it is being portrayed in our everyday lives, down from politics to media. When a woman is assaulted, the first thing people ask is, what is she wearing, or what was she wearing, where was she, what was she doing? When a mother is struggling between balancing her work and home life, people term her as being selfish or not being woman enough. When a relationship, a couple breaks up, people go into this, these bombardments of blaming the woman as not being able to keep the man, or being the reason the man cheats, or not being woman enough to keep her man and let him stay. From relationships to politics to from crime to pop culture, the pattern is very clear. Whenever something goes wrong, the society's first instinct is to blame the woman. But then, why does this happen? And where does this come from? And most importantly, who benefits from this whole thing? So today we're going to be breaking down the history, the psychology, and most importantly, the power structure behind the society's favorite pastime, which is blaming women. So let's get into it. The history of blaming women goes far back, as scriptural references where Eve was blamed for the downfall of mankind, and we constantly see it when God asks Adam what happened, and Adam answered, is it not this woman that you gave me, and things like that. And even in further scriptural reference, we see where the adulteress was caught and she was about to be stoned. No one talked about the man. The man wasn't even mentioned. We didn't see the man in question. It was the woman who they wanted to like stone to death. Even in our ancient traditional practices, women were constantly blamed for anything or everything that happened within our society. And I remember I read a documentary, or will I say a history, where women were witch hunt and they were put into witch trials, and these women, if found guilty, which most cases they were found guilty, were executed. And these women weren't witches, rather they were women who were just different or didn't conform with societal standard. They were outspoken, they were independent, and we all know that this is what societies fear the most. So therefore they termed or tagged these women as witches and ended their life. Also, we see it even in our today's contemporary history, where great women like Princess Diana was stigmatized by the English media. She was termed as being a villain and being just not conformative to society, and it's just something that continues to play out within these space that's eaten deep into our society. I was talking with a friend some days ago, and this person told me that my country, and if for those who don't know, I am from Nigeria, my country cannot have a female president because women are emotional, and she's going to ruin this country if she becomes the president, if a woman becomes the president. I'm like, this country is it not only already in ruins? Having mentioned some examples and also the history of how blaming women came upon, we're going to go over to like understanding the psychology of why society blames women. So the only theory or concept I'm going to use to explain the psychology behind why society blames women will be the Madonna whore complex. And Sigmund Freud came up with this explanation. It's a concept that still affects our society today, and it is where women are either pure, innocent, and perfect, or they are manipulative, sexual, and untrustworthy, and there is no in between. It is either you are this or you are that. And when something goes wrong, the first logic that comes to people's mind is, if the woman is good, then she's a victim, and if the woman is bad, then she must be the cause of the problem. And since women are constantly working in these tight ropes, there is no in between. It is either they are blamed here or they are blamed here. So this concept was something that Sigmund Freud used to explain how society constantly blamed women. So another psychology I'm gonna explain is society's need for a scapegoat. When something bad happens, it is a logic for us to want to look for what to blame or who to blame. And historically, women have often been seen as convenient scapegoats by society. For instance, when a man cheats on his wife, they don't go around blaming the guy. The guy is an omni. Science is he's the alpha. They do not blame him. Society goes around blaming the both women, either the wife of the spouse of the guy, or they blame the person in which he cheated with. And I'm like, why not blame the guy who couldn't handle the sin between his legs? Why not blame him? Why blame the women? The third one will be internalized misogyny, and this is how women blame other women. So in today's society, we see a whole, uprise of women blaming other women for women problems. So, and this is the worst part of it all. It's not just men blaming women, but rather women blaming other women. And why? It's because we've been raised in a society where it teaches each woman to see her fellow woman as a competition, and women are told that the only way for them to be accepted or to feel accepted by society is the need for them to be better than other women. The concept of pick me's, it's just with the cancel culture against pick-me's and pick-me's themselves shaming the concept of feminism, and we all see it as it is all part of this system where society thrives on women being busy blaming each other for their problems. You get what I'm saying? We're going to talk about some few cases where this thing is being played out in our modern society. I don't need to go around, discussing each and every one of it. You can see we see it in our media, we see it in relationships where women are blamed on why they are saddled with the responsibility of making their family work, their marriages work, their life work, or their relationship with their boyfriends or whatever work. And then even in workspace, women are not, most at times they are not employed because they are seen as not being fit or too emotional for some job roles. Even in politics as well, I mentioned an example where a friend of mine told me that women cannot be in politics because they can't make sane decisions because they are too emotional. So having listed all the points on the history and the psychology and how all these things plays out in our today's society, why not we talk about how we can deal with this problem and how we can change the status quo, because it is there whether you deny it or not. women are treated badly and they are constantly blamed for everything and anything. I mean, the double standard within our society is on a high rise. Check pop, check pop culture. And when I talk about pop culture, the first thing that comes to my mind is K-pop. Like, I have been a K-pop fan for a long time, and we can see how the male idols are being praised for doing things that if the female idols do, they are being bashed, they are being hated upon, they are being sent death threats, and it's crazy. And I'm like, okay, okay. And I know that the K-pop world itself, panders to fantasy, and we know women are one of the target audience for most of these K-pop companies, and that's why the whole K-pop world is like that. But I'm like, no, now, no, now, now. So it's not just something that is prevalent in pop culture. It is prevalent in every area of our life. And if you as a person feel like it is just a feminist talk, I do not know what your problem is. First way for us to you know tackle this issue is to recognize the problem. And the first step is noticing it when it happens. Whenever it happens, you have to notice it and call out the double standard. When a woman is assaulted in public, this society goes on this. Why was she wearing what she was wearing now? She could have covered her body a little bit. She would have done this now. She would have not been walking around at night now. But then go around and ask the same question. Why didn't this man cover his pants? Why didn't he control himself? Why wasn't he being a gentleman? So these are the ways of calling out the said double standard against women. The second way would be to change how we talk about women. Talking about women in a derogative manner is not only insultive, but it shows how shallow minded you are as a person. Women are, first of all, human beings and should be treated with utter respect and compassion. They are human beings. They are not products. They are not byproducts. We see how the media constantly tear down women. Black women misrepresentation in media is on a high rise, and it is something we need to discuss about. Women need to be supported, and if we want change, we need to start actively supporting women, and that is by amplifying women's voices, believing their stories, and breaking down the cycle of internalized misogyny. We need to be a catalyst for change, and I believe that with these a lot of things are going to change. Having said that, I throw the question back to you. What do you think could be why the reasons why women are constantly blamed upon by society? Have you noticed this pattern in maybe your own life or around you, and how can we push it back? Let's talk in the comment section. If you like this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I post another content. And I'm going to see you next time. Bye.